Today we start the second part of An Astrologer's Day. The astrologer translated his business by the light of the flare which crackled and smoke up above the groundnut heap nearby. Half of the enchantment of the place was due to the fact that it did not have the benefit of the municipal light. The astrologer started his business. The flare or light of crackled and smoke above the groundnuts heap nearby. Half of the enchantment the place due to the fact did not have the benefit of the municipal light. Municipal lights did not have the benefit to his astrologer's work. The word enchantment means magical effect or charm. It means in Marathi ज्योतिष शेजारच्या शेंगदाण्यांच्या ढिगावर ठेवलेल्या तडतड करीत पेटणाऱ्या आगीच्या प्रकाशात आपला व्यवसाय करीत असे. त्या ठिकाणाला ते जादुई ओळख प्राप्त करण्यात निम्मी श्रेय नगरपालिकेच्या तिथल्या दिव्यांच्या प्रकाशाची सोय न करता करण्यात होते. The place was lit up by shop light. One or two had hissing gaslight. Some had naked flare stuck on pole. Some were lit up old cycle lamp, and one or two, like the astrologers, managed without light on their own. So how they have light for their shop we have to be seen here. Two had hissing gaslight, naked flare stuck on pole. There is light on pole. Some lights started with old cycle lamp, but the astrologers did not uses their own light for that. It means in Marathi, दुकानांच्या दिव्यामुळे ती जागा थोडीफार उजळून निघत असेल. एक दोघांचे फुसफुस आवाज करणारे गॅसचे दिवे होते. काहींनी खांबावर उघड्या मशाली लटकवलेल्या होत्या. काही जुने सायकलचे दिवे होते. ज्योतिषाकडे आणखी एक दोघे जण स्वतःच्या दिव्याशिवाय आपले काम चालवित होते. इट वॉज द bewildering crisscross of light rays and moving shadows. It suited the astrologist very well, for the simple reason that he had not least intended to be an astrologer when he began the life, and he knew no more what was going to happen to other than he knew what was going to happen to himself next minute. He wasn't much the strange to the star as well as were his innocent customers. Yet he said things which pleased and astonished everyone. That was more a matter of study, practice, and shrewd guesswork. So there is the light moving in the road, crisscross way, and moving shadow. The word bewildering means confused and baffling. These suited astrologers were very well, the simple reason that he had not in the least intended to be astrologers when he began his life. He did not know about I will be an astrologer in my life. He had knew more and what is going to others that he knew was going to be happen himself in next minute. So whenever the people came to the in verse 2 about asking something about the astrologers, what will happen in next minute, he unknown about that. He was the much strangers the stars were the innocent customers. And yet he said the things which please and astonish everyone. So many of the peoples he has to be pleased by their saying. That was no matter study, practice, shrewd and guesswork. So astrologers never practice about to giving some excuses and some guideline to the people, The word shrewd means good judging and people to clever. So many times the astrologers has to be given suggestion in clever way and people can understand he is a good man. In Marathi, प्रकाश किरण हलवणाऱ्या सावल्या एक विस्मरकार खेळ तिथे चालू असायचा. ज्योतिषाची मात्र त्यामुळे उत्तम सोय झाली होती, कारण अगदी साधे होते. आयुष्याच्या सुरुवातीला ज्योतिष बनण्याचा अजिबात हेतू नव्हता, कारण तिथे स्वतःच्या आयुष्यात पुढच्या क्षणी काय घडणार आहे हे त्याला सुतराम कल्पना नव्हती. तिथे दुसऱ्यांच्या आयुष्यात पुढे काय घडणार आहे हे ठाऊक असण्याची शक्यता नाही. त्याच्या भाबड्या ग्राहकाला इतका तो ताऱ्याविषयी अनभिज्ञ होता, तरीही त्याच्या बोलण्याने सर्वजण खुश होत असत आणि भारावून जात असत, कारण त्या बोलण्यात अधिकतर त्याचा अभ्यास, सराव, धूर्तपणा, अंदाज, वर्तवण्याची खुबी होती. All the same, it was as much an honest man labor as any other, and he deserved the wages and carried home at the end of a day. So all the times he honestly worked of his astrologers. People can give the wages, people can give the money to what he gave the suggestions, and whatever the money he carried, and that day he ended. It means that in Marathi, असे असले तरी इतर कुठल्याही प्रामाणिक माणसाने करावे तसेच त्याचे कष्ट होते आणि दिवसाआधी तो जी कमाई घरी घेऊन जाई त्याच्या मेहनतीचे फळ असे. He had left his village without any previous thought or plan. If he had continued there, he would have carried on the work for his forefather, namely tilling the land, living, marrying, ripening in his cornfield and ancestor home. But that was not to be. He had to leave the home without telling anyone, and he could not rest till he left it behind a couple of 100 miles. To a villagers, it is a great deal, as if an ocean's flowed between the previous life of an astrologer. One day he had left his village, and he planned and thought in his mind, if he had continued there, I would have carried on the work on his forefather. His forefather's work is different, and now the present days he did another work, namely tilling land, living, marrying, and reaping his cornfield and ancestor home. But that was not to be. Astrologers did not leaving that place. He had to be leave that place and move hundreds of kilometers away from his home. He had leave home without telling anyone. He did not tell anything something about his planning, and he could not rest till he left it behind a couple of 100 miles. He continuously took the journey when he went from his home. To a villager, it is a great deal, as if the ocean flowed between. Near about, he had long distance away from his home. In Marathi, कोणताही निश्चय, विचार, योजना न आखता तो आपले गाव सोडून आला होता. तिथेच राहिला असता तर आपल्या पूर्वजांचा कामधंदा करीत राहिला असता. शेतीवाडी, घरदार, लग्न, संसार, मक्याची शेती, वडिलोपार्जित घरात आयुष्य काढीत म्हातारा झाला असता. पण तसे व्हायचे नव्हते. कोणाला न सांगता घर सोडून जाणे त्याला भाग पडले होते आणि आपण गाव शेकडो मैल मागे सोडून येईपर्यंत तो थांबू शकत नव्हता. एकदा गावाच्या दृष्टीने तो पल्ला गाठणे म्हणजे जणू एक समुद्र पार करण्या इतकी मोठी गोष्ट होती. So now you will study the second part of the lesson very well, and you will see the another third part of the lesson in another video. Thank you.